welcome to another episode of my podcast. I'm getting right into it because I'm very excited to have our guest on. I just got into the show 60 Days In. I'm obsessed with it. And this person was on the show. He's one of my favorite people to be on the show. And I'm very excited to have him here. Give it up for Abner. Woo, 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 woo. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good.
How long has it been since you were on the show? How long have you been out of jail?
It's been over a year. I want to say it was pre-COVID, of course.
Oh, okay. I just got into the show. So my boyfriend was telling me about the show. My friend Chappelle Lacey was telling me about the show. And every time someone told me about it, I was like, this sounds so good and interesting and I need to watch. And I started with your season, and your storyline is so interesting. For people who don't know what 60 Days In, how would you describe it?
How would I describe it? I would describe it as an experiment for civil people to experience confinement.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. So essentially, people sign up to be a part of this program and a part of this show, and they take everyday regular people to go to jail for 60 days, ideally. People can obviously leave early if they feel like, their life or their safety or health is being threatened. But the goal is pretty much to stay in for 60 days, kind of take a look at what can be changed in the particular jail, and then report it to, the people who work at the jail, and hopefully be able to change the jail and the system for the better, right?
Yes, exactly.
Here's the thing, though. Do you think that the sheriffs and the people who run the jail actually care about changing it? Because I feel like with your season, when I was watching, the end, once all the participants kind of give their 2 cents on what they observed and what they thought could change, I felt like the sheriffs and, the people in charge of the jail, didn't really care, it seemed like.
Yeah, I'm going to say something because I'm not under contract anymore, but
hell yeah.
This show's Hollywood. The editing they do, the music, everything else. I've never been Hollywood. I'm not Hollywood. I've been on the other side of the wall. And I can say for all the other participants, if I was a civil person and would want to go to a 60 days in jail, something's wrong with me. See, with me, it's different because anybody that you ask that's done real time, 60 days is nothing. You know what I mean? For home down payment or whatever, like I did, and invest the money. But I want to say that a lot of the people in there was in there for the wrong reasons. Like, I'm a chaplain, and I'll call it like it is. It was like bullshit.
Yeah, you're not only a chaplain, but you're a shot caller.
Yeah, so
get you a man who can do both.
Yeah, definitely. And I have a different way of even ministering to people and talking to people. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it like it's a lovely day. Like that's not how life is, or religion or anything, period. But when I went in there for the right reasons. I didn't have to go. Like, financially, it was not even going to do a dent.
Yeah, because I was looking online. Is it true that you get paid, compensated essentially $3,000 for being on the show? Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. I want to say I'll round it off because I don't know how much the other participants got paid. But I want to say it's close to like $40,000, And pretty much it stood on A&E, then Hulu, and then during the pandemic, Netflix bought it and came back. I already had left social media because it was too much. It was overwhelming.
Oh, so do you get residuals for it? Or no?
No, no. It's not it's reality TV.
Yeah.
So no monologues. It's real.
It
you
seems
go
like
in there.
It seems like a lot of the girls who go on the show have pretty successful OnlyFans after the show. I was searching up everyone. I was like, I wonder what everyone's up to now. And I'm like, damn, all of these girls have got an OnlyFans.
Yeah. I want to say not everybody went. That's why I say if you're a civil person and you go in there to do this show, something's wrong with you. Either you clout chasing or something's wrong with you. Like with me, I didn't appreciate the drama that came with it. Now I'm used to it because I could go out to the mall and take 5-10 pictures with 10 different people.
Yeah.
People actually recognize me, and I embrace it. But some people, no.
Yeah.
Like for the wrong reasons.
So I think that brings up a good point because, your story was very interesting. I mean, before I started watching, I think maybe the first or second episode, your season was the first one I watched. And the first or second episode, I'm telling my boyfriend, I'm like, I want to go on the show. I want to see how I do in jail. And then by the end, I'm like, oh, I can't. Like, I truly don't think I could do this. Like, it really seems difficult. But like you were saying, some people probably get into it for the wrong reasons. Your kind of motive for going in was that you had served time previously, 3 sentences, I think you said? You'd served 3 consecutive sentences. 2
state and 1 federal.
Okay, so you had already served time in jail. You knew what it was like, the authentic experience of being someone who is sent to jail, not for a reality show, but for real. And then when you got out, because you became a chaplain, how quickly after getting out did you realize you wanted to kind of change your life in that way and go in a different direction? Like, was it easy for you to kind of make that choice, or was there a program that came into your jail or prison where you got introduced to that?
No, I want to say 100% the system is a failure.
Yeah.
Period. There's no, I don't care who, where, what state. I've been around federal, state inmates, terrible. Like the reentry programs are terrible. It's a business. I've been in jails, prisons, where they have literally packed us up and said, Abner, could you clean up here? And there's 6 of us in the jail and they're closing down because it's private owners. It's a business. It's a business. Like whoever says it's not, it's a business. When I was in Georgetown in New York, and whoever was governor over here, they closed it down. Money, business. Livingston, same prison I left when I came from Georgetown from the program. Like it's crazy. And it was me. I wrote a book on it, and this is how it all came about with 60 Days In. I wrote a book.
Plug that book. Plug the book.
Yeah, the book is on The Pastor's Son. It's on Amazon. It's been there for like 7-8 years now. Okay. Long time. Even before Abner existed on reality TV. And I was minding my own business. I wrote the book, came out on 700 Club. And pretty much I just ministered to little young kids or whoever, jails, wherever. And when I was in prison, fast rewinding, when I was in prison, my last time, I was in solitary confinement for a year. Everybody knows my story. That's why Annie bought it. And pretty much when I was in the box, SHU, I was gonna commit suicide, and I was gonna give this CEO a hard time, a correction officer. So he gave me a Bible. Long story short, I read it. It blew my mind because I had no distractions. So it was fully for a year reading the Bible. So I didn't have no TV, no human contact, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I contradicted the Bible with a dictionary and everything. And I came home a different person. I dropped the gang I was with.
How do you
sold the gun.
I don't know anything about like gangs, or I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to prisons and jail and all of that stuff. Yeah. How difficult is it to drop a gang?
It's not difficult at all. Whoever says it is lying. Okay. They just they love that lifestyle.
Do you have to put in like a 2 weeks and be like, hey guys, I had such a good time with you. Thank you so much. I learned a lot.
No. And the 401k is probably life in prison. No, it's I pretty much was not used to them. Like a person that's going to church, that's minding his own business. You know, I went home, sold my guns, sold my jewelry, bought a little used Honda, got a job. It's like, what's wrong with this guy? Like I'm going to work, man. You know, like, goodbye, you know. And people just kind of ignore you. So you're not of any use anymore, you know? And then, of course, once you start finding, God starts blessing you, you start finding fame or whatever, like now, people generally forgot about you and now they hate you. Like, really? Like, you know, but that's how everything is in life. You know, misery loves company. But leaving the gang, I mean, whoever sits here, especially now with this generation, they kind of embrace it. So you got a lot of kids, even from the suburbs, claiming this, claiming that. You have no idea how savage the streets are. Yeah. You have none. And the streets are not social media, you know, like TikTok, you know. And I had about over 223,000 followers on TikTok. I deleted it because they didn't understand what I was trying to bring, you know. And people are just leading kids to hell, to prison, like. But anybody can leave a gang. Like, yeah, you're no use anymore.
So when you went on the show, your kind of motivation for going on this was you having already been and served time, and then, you know, changing your life around, leaving the gang, you know, becoming a chaplain. What does that mean exactly, to be a chaplain? What is that?
A chaplain, well, anybody can YouTube it, but a chaplain is, the story came about when it was 4 different religions, you know, military servicemen, and they were at war. And a chaplain, pretty much, the word came from serving anybody. Like, you know, when a chaplain prays, he just prays to a higher power. So they don't pray to God, they don't pray to Allah, you know, they just minister to anyone and say, hey, you know, I want to pray for you, you know, mighty, you know, Father in the heavens, or whoever, you know. And that's basically what a chaplain does. And a chaplain just helps people. Like, when you give someone $1 in the street, you can either give it to them or walk away. A chaplain will give it to them, but give them a word with it too, you know, or a prayer. It's just ministry, just helping other people. And, you know, you don't have to sit here and put it on social media like some people do for clout. Like, I don't do that. I've never done it. And I could do content all day with it. But a chaplain just helps hospitals, prisons. It's kind of minister to anyone with no discretion toward their religion, sexuality, or anything.
Yeah, so then you became a chaplain, and then your goal on the show was essentially to just kind of be able to help these guys know that there's more for them out there. And you kind of wanted to be like the mentor figure because you had been in their position before. Do you feel, I mean, because I obviously only saw the show from how they edited it and how they portrayed you. Do you feel like you were able to accomplish that goal, or do you feel like you kind of got caught up in the old Abner ways, or do you feel like you weren't portrayed exactly, you know, how things might have gone down?
Yeah, as far as me doing the show, I went kind of like the old me kicked in.
It was so good because it was so funny because you're, you know, before you go in, you get to know all of the people entering the program, and you're like, you know, I'm going in there. I have a higher purpose.
Which I wish I did it. I wish they would have just sent me in by myself. I didn't need any of them.
But it was so good because you're just like, you know, before you enter the jail, we're just kind of like, in your head, you're thinking like, oh, I wonder how he's going to do this. I wonder how long it's going to take for him to like reach these people. And as soon as the doors open and you're in there, these fools come up to you and they're like, are you Chicano? Like, what's going on, man? And you're like, here we go. Yeah. And it was like off to the races from the jump.
Yeah, it was like deja vu. So it was in an environment that I already had been in. And it was kind of hard in the part that I couldn't tell someone, hey man, I'm from a reality TV show. Basically, I'm a snitch. There's cameras here and all that. They're listening to the phones. Everything you say, the microphones are everywhere. You know, you can hear a fart in here. They're going to listen to it. Like, but you can't say that to them. So that's where it became difficult for me. And that's where my frustration kicked in, you know, and pretty much I was like gun ho, you know?
Yeah, because I guess it would be hard to try and almost take the mentorship role when people don't know your backstory and you can't describe that to them. It's hard to say there's more out there when you are with them in jail at that moment.
Yeah, you become one of them.
What do you think is worse? What do you think? I don't know. What's worse, being a snitch in jail or being a chomo?
Oh, a chomo.
Chomo's like the worst of the worst, right?
Yeah, pretty much somebody that told on somebody, especially if it's not someone that's not important or whatever, they kind of just forget about it or brush it off. Or you could just mind your own business. They won't bother you. You could become Muslim, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But because a lot of people do that. They become Muslim. I never been a Muslim, but they do it. They grab the Quran. Hey, man, you know, and that's their protection. But when you're a chomo or rapist, man, you pretty much green light. You pretty much like, if someone wants to transfer to another jail, you're getting cut. You're getting cut or stabbed for free.
And after you're 60 days in, I mean, I thought it was so funny because, I mean, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but whatever, you have to watch it even if I give spoilers away. They had kind of a secret dude, Steve. Was that his name?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So they had one participant who was a secret to all other participants, and this guy thought he was the shit. He ended up leaving like what seemed to be maybe not even a week in. He's like, I can't.
It was not even 3 days. It was not even 3 days.
Yeah.
But there was actually another one that they never even filmed. He only lasted 2 meals.
No
and he was
way.
in the same unit. Yeah, he was in it. They didn't film it. They threw the film out or whatever. They probably still have it. But it was only 2 meals, and the guy went in there. Hey, man, who's got blow? Like, I was like, yeah, this guy's from 60 Days In. Why they even bring this dude? It was like a bald-headed dude, stocky from Boston. It was a secure police or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you putting these dudes in here with me? No, you're just making things more complicated for me. But he ended up giving away his 2 meals and left by lunch, breakfast and lunch, and he was gone.
So what do you think? Like, do you were saying from your experience in this jail in Arizona, Pinal County, right?
Pinal County, yeah.
Pinal County, you were saying your suggestion, because the big controversy that was happening in your pod was a lot of the like race issues, you know, there were the Woods, there were the Chicanos, there were the kinfolk, and there was one kid who came in, Ikaiko, right?
Ikaika, yeah.
And he was like a super mixed dude. He was like Hawaiian, black, white, and you were kind of having this talk with him about how he needs to pick a race and how serious that is in jail. And I was asking my boyfriend about this, like, it's not necessarily that these people are racist, right? Some of them, I imagine, are pretty racist, but it's more about just like the tradition of how things are ran.
Yeah, the whole Florence, Maricopa, Pinal County, the whole Arizona's like that. And I even experienced it in the time that I was even there. I'm good at reading vibes. And I could tell when people are just that tight. You know, I'm a New Yorker, so we're different over here. You know, we're like multicultural, you name it, you know. We embrace all tourists, etc. Even in the prison, it's different. But there is by race.
Yeah.
And I, you know, before I went there, I Googled and I already knew who was what and what was what, you know. So I did my research before going in there, how the cliques run and everything. And it was by race. And Ikaika being he's Samoan actually and black. So in California, I've been around Samoans from California and the Feds. They run different, real different. Like they're their own world, but it has nothing to do with race. That's just who they are, you know, just like Mexicans or Puerto Ricans or, you know, whites. Because some people think because you're white, oh yeah, well, you're automatically Aryan Nation. No, you have bikers, you have different gangs. Like
Yeah.
it's broken up.
So then I was wondering, because you suggested at the end, once all the participants get to kind of say their experience and what they think could be corrected, your suggestion was that there could be what did you call it, like color drop pods?
Yeah, upstate New York is like a color drop zone. Drop zone meaning you drop your colors. Like you don't believe in no gangs, you don't believe in no race, no religion, nothing. You're just a neutral person trying to do your time and go home. And some people might look at it like, well, that's like for snitches. No, because there's literally people in there that just want to go home. And it's hard when you got to deal with politics and you're doing like a year, 2 years. And it's like I've seen people get 1 year and end up doing 20 years. Like I've literally met people that are like in their 40s. And I'm like, you've been in here since you were 16 and you started with a 1 year sentence? Like, yeah, man, I killed this guy. I stabbed this guy. Like, so that's why I say it should be even separated everywhere. Like there's no control. They just let the inmates do what they want to do.
Yeah,
and there's no control.
That was the impression I got, was that's why I felt like the show, as entertaining as it is, there is this dark side of it where you realize that no one wants these guys and girls who are in the facility to get better. There's no way to, make it. It's hard because part of me watching it was like, oh, that sucks that they only get 2 meals a day and the meals are disgusting. Like, of course they're all mad. They're sleeping on metal beds. Like, I would be miserable too. I would be starting shit. I'd be so angry. But at the same time, it's like, I guess you don't want to make it too comfortable because then it might be better than people's, living situations outside. It's this weird thing where I, don't know. Like, do you feel like there is a way to make the system better for prisons and jails, or do you think it's just one of those things
there is a way, especially when they're young. Like, don't put young kids, right? And I don't mean kids because they're adults. 18 and up, you kill somebody, you're an adult. Like you're not a little kid, you're a murderer. But people that young guys that are 18 to like 21, 23, there should be a program implemented by the government saying, hey, you can't violate this guy and send him to a max prison like they did with me, because it's not that you become a coward. You become educated. You become educated in the system. You know what's a shank. You know how to hide drugs, suitcase, booth, whatever you want to call it. There's different, but this is the school you go to. But if you catch someone before they even experience that and tell them, hey, listen, we're going to give you an opportunity, but don't just give them an opportunity and say, hey, we'll put you on probation. No. Implement something with that, program, school, something, but that's in a package, because the system can work, but sadly, this is ran by rich people, and it's even from the commissary is ran by rich people, politicians.
Yeah.
Like anybody will tell you what's the tour when they come in with a pad and they're writing. These are investors. They're coming in there and they look at you like cattle, like you're just cattle. And it should be a program, but it's a business. Sadly, the United States is a business that makes millions. So if you have a suburb with a population of 300, and I'll put it just like it is, a population of 300 whites, they need work. So what's the work? Let's lock up 2,000, 4,000 inmates that are Black and Hispanics or minority white, and let's make money off of them and give Billy and them a job. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's no sugarcoating it. And when you're in there, you realize these things. You're like, wait a minute. This is, so I went in there thinking they were going to make a difference. I hope that Sheriff Land made a difference. because the commissary's terrible. There's no microwave. I've seen people stab people and say, I'm going to kill this guy and I'm going to a max prison because they feed me better.
Wow.
So I'm just going to I'm already doing life. So I'm just going to take this guy's life and stab him 20, 30 times in the neck, in the face, in the head, in the eye. And I'm going to a max prison. And they'll drop the knife, handcuff. Y'all, see you later. Because they prefer to be in do something like that and be treated better.
Yeah.
Sadly, but true.
Yeah, that's so wild. Jail and prison seems awful. Are there any, like, because in my head, like, this is just a very stupid way of thinking, but part of me is like, oh, it'd be kind of nice to go to jail and just, like, get really buff and, like, read the Bible, get spiritual, and just kind of, like, get shit together. Obviously, that's not how it works. It would be a lot different than that, but, like, were there any parts of it that you felt were like, oh, this is kind of nice? Was there anything that, like, gave you comfort while you were locked up, either on the show or when you were really locked up?
No. The chaplain in that prison is horrible.
Yeah.
There was a guy, and he follows me, Tyrus. He couldn't even get a Quran.
Is he out? I loved Tyrus.
Yeah, no, Tyrus is out. There's like a little couple interviews, not interviews, but me and him on lives.
Oh, okay.
And he couldn't get a Quran, and I even had personally ordered a Quran for him because the chaplain was a Mormon. See, Arizona is full of Mormons. No offense, but don't discriminate when that's your job. You're a chaplain. So he couldn't even get a Quran. So it's like the only peace that I found was laying in my bunk at night and just and you kind of can't get on your knees and be super religious. So I just used to pray laying down. That was my peace of mind. That was my woosah, my kind of like, like I'm in the zone meditating, like, what's my next move? And that's what, while everybody was sleeping, I was plotting, thinking, like, and that's a natural instinct, I guess, people have, and I even saw the psychologist and he said, no, you're going to be fine. I highly doubt that you will have a problem.
Yeah, so there's a psychologist with the reality show, correct? They don't really show it on the show, but do you ever, when they pull you out to talk to the camera and do the one-on-one interviews, do you ever talk to the psychologist and they just don't show that on the show?
No, you talk to the psychologist before the show, before you even go to the jail.
Yeah.
So the psychologist talk to you, you have a couple sessions, you're free to call them whenever, and I did, just because I actually went through a process like that to take myself away from the streets and that lifestyle. So I already know what the criminal thinking is. So when someone is like, well, you're a criminal, well, I beg to differ. I haven't committed a crime in over 10 years, and I'm soon to be a Canadian citizen. So I beg to differ.
Congrats.
Yeah. So I mean, and I experiment with myself and my life. Like, I wrote books, I went to jail, I did a reality TV show, but I just challenged myself to do better now.
Yeah.
So that criminal thinking is a culture.
Did the producers of the show ever kind of have a talk with you when you were doing the one-on-one interviews with them about you really stepping into the enforcer role? Did they give you any warnings? Did they say you got to ease up, or were they go for it?
I mean, even if they did kind of but I didn't care. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from New York. You pay me, we doing it. Forget what you saying. I don't care. You're not going to make me look bad, because if I would have sat there and laid in the bed, well, you're a punk. You just laid in the bed like Robert or any other participant from the other season. So I'm like, no, and sadly, the first producer was fired. And I'll put him on blast.
Wait, why?
He was doing too much. Like when I say too much, I mean too much. Too much. Like, and I was like, even everybody noticed it, like, hey man, what's wrong with this guy? And he ended up getting fired about after a week. It was like total chaos.
Are the producers good at keeping it low key? Because you see on the show, they enter the pods and they kind of talk to everyone, you know, because they're pretending they're making like a documentary. But it seems like in some of the episodes, they get called out for kind of talking to the same people longer. So how dangerous is that? And like, what responsibility do they have?
They pretty much need to fix that if they're going to do a season 7 for real. Or just send a kamikaze in there with a camera and let's make a movie. Because inmates are not stupid. Like, they know. You know, me, they were trying to figure me out because they're like, man, this guy really doesn't talk like, man, he's like a criminal. He's got tattoos, gang tattoos. Like, no, he can't. But when they're coming in like, hey, yeah, you know, they're, yeah, guys, yeah, we're gonna, yeah, you know, and they're actually asking me, hey, AB, can I go interview? Yeah, man, go ahead, man, you good, man. Just don't tell them nothing about the pot. They're asking me, the real inmates, can I go interview with them? So I'm like, go ahead, because, you know, when you're in there, it's a woman, you know, and she was the coolest one, especially the producer.
Yeah. That was
the coolest one. And, but they kind of figured it out. I mean, it's been already 6 seasons now.
Yeah, so that must be dangerous, though, because obviously being a snitch isn't as bad as being a chomo, but being a snitch is pretty bad, you know? So, so you said that you talked to Tyrus, you do Instagram Lives with him, so he's out of jail. But was he upset to find out? Did he have a feeling? Like, do you keep in touch with the participants and the inmates? Like, were any of them mad at you after? Did you get any backlash from that?
No. I had actually have a few of them that I'm gonna be doing something with, and they actually know, they understand me. Like, for some reason, criminals know each other, ex-cons, inmates, you know, and they understand now what I was trying to do, you know, because the person you see in there is not the person that's out here, and they understand what I was doing. Everybody else, pretty much, even they didn't like. And I spoken to them, like, they're like, nah, I didn't like this guy. And this guy over here, I definitely didn't like.
Let me guess, did they not like a man named David who was on your season?
Yeah, they definitely, yeah. Not only because they didn't even know him, but once they went home and watched the show, like, hey, you know, it's kind of like, you know, wait a minute, like, but Abner wasn't doing that. Like, they know, they were in there with me. So they know any editing, they know what really went down. And they never looked at me that way. Like, they know that I did it to help.
Yeah.
Like, I was genuinely there with them. If they needed a soup, if they needed a honey bun, here you go, man. You hungry? Here you go. Like, I'm a real dude, and my vibes are good. But when you're a grimy person and your vibes are just like weird vibes, people sense that. Like, even on social media, people know weird vibes. Like, dude, like, calm down. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it was so crazy because David on your season was doing so well in terms, at least from watching it, it seemed like he was really holding down the fort. He like had people listening to him. Like, it seemed like he was really, it got a little bit weird. He kept like trying to really like Goodwill Hunting his pod and be like, you know, check your pride, man. Like, I'm here. Like, you guys just got to talk about it, hold hands, like, look into each other's eyes, and make up. You know, he was trying to come around like the hippy dippy way and whatever. And it seemed like he was doing well. Like, his pod seemed to be like under some sort of control, and all of a sudden, he just, spoiler alert, big spoiler alert, he essentially snitched on everyone, on every participant in the show, and it resulted in all of you getting pulled out of the show and of the jail due to his talking about being a part of the show to one of the officers.
This is the thing. This is what I would have preferred. I would have preferred not meeting any of them, period. Any of them. You know what I mean? I didn't go to jail to make friends. I didn't go on a reality TV show to find a lifetime reality TV co-defendant. No, stay over there. I live my life, you live your life. And I just felt like if he would have just toned it down. See, because people talk about snitching, right? A civil person has the right to snitch. A civil person is a civil person. Like, you can't go hit a civil person and just knock them out and think they're not going to call 911 and press charges and take the stand and testify, right? So David is a civil person. He's not hood. You're not a criminal. You're not a felon. You're a cop. Play a cop. But I know cops that are loyal to their partners. Mm-hmm. Like, take some of that, learn from me, and be a better person. Don't do the King Kong. Too many King Kongs out here. Like, you gotta humble yourself. And I was just trying to do that. And I wasn't in his pod, so I don't know what they were doing over there.
Yeah.
From what I saw in the show. But
so now that you've gotten to know me a little bit in the past, however long we've been recording, do you think that I could go on the show and somehow survive?
I think definitely you can, especially the jails they pick. They're not prisons, the jails.
Yeah. But
I think with the amount of information you have, and not only because it takes a person that cares or has some type of compassion to have a passion for or a drive for something they want to do. Mm-hmm. But when you're just like a regular Mo, a cop, a correction officer, a civil person, it's kind of a little different. But for you, you have that interaction and that intelligence to say, wait a minute, this one's doing this, this one's doing that. You know, I actually, so you can pretty much do a whole podcast out of a jail.
Yeah.
But doing real, you know, rather than sit there and bash them and like, oh, she's a drug addict, she stinks or whatever. Like, don't do that. Like, you're not better than anyone because any of us could fall. You know?
And speaking of starting a podcast in jail, I feel like there's a lot of inmates on TikTok. I'm on TikTok, I'm swiping away, and I find myself on prison TikTok a lot. It's these dudes making dance videos while locked up, and I'm like, how do they get a phone in there? Like, does it have to be up the butt, or do some prisons, are they more lax about bringing in phones?
You got some correction officers that don't get paid enough because they don't get paid enough, and some guy in there needs money. Hey, here you go, man. I need a phone or whatever. Or the way the jails are. Some actual jails permit now tablets and phones. So a lot of them do use it, or they've been in there, they recycle them or whatever.
Yeah.
And pretty much if you already have a phone in there, you could actually just buy minutes over the phone. Like, hey, send me the PIN number to the minutes or whatever. So technology is advanced now to the point that once the phone is in there, but you could get it and visit. It's all depending on where you're at.
Okay, and, so not everyone is shoving an iPhone 6 up their butthole. Hey guys, speaking of shivs and shanks and shoving things up your butthole, one of my favorite razors that would be great if you're going to jail to bring in with you is the Billy razor. You might have heard me talk about it. It is truly one of my favorite razors. Not only its design, but also just how good the razor is, and they have subscriptions. So you can get a razor sent to your house once a month, every 2 months, every 3 months, and they have really good, I love the shaving cream. I normally just use shampoo or conditioner as shaving cream, but once I used theirs, I was like, oh, this actually serves a purpose and is a real product that actually is used for what it is. So I love their shaving cream. I love their razor. Billy, honestly, I never knew that there was a difference between razors. I just thought that you used a razor until it got rusty and then you continued to use it for centuries. And that I thought you were supposed to bleed when you shaved, especially around the knees and just generally on the legs and especially around the ankles. Turns out with the Billy razor, you most likely won't cut yourself shaving. It's a smooth shave. It feels really nice. It's very moisturizing. And I think you should give it a try. Why not? Treat yourself. Make yourself feel special. This razor truly will make you... It feels like an upgrade. It really, especially with the holder being a magnet on the wall, a tiny little triangle magnet, it feels classy, it feels new, it feels fresh. Don't suffer another second paying a pink tax. That's also annoying. If you buy a razor in the stores and it's like a pink razor or like branded for women, it's more expensive than a men's razor. And Billy said, F that, no pink tax on our products. So don't suffer another second paying a pink tax for a bad shave. Go to mybilly.com/AllieMac to get the best razor you will ever own while supporting this show. Billy is half the price of other razors plus free shipping always. Just go to mybilly.com/AllieMac. That's mybillie.com/ALIMAC. That's mybilly.com/AllieMac. It's the great razor that you've been looking for, and it's also the great weapon to bring into jail with you if that's, where your life is going. Stay safe, stay shaved. Go to mybilly.com/AllieMac. Back to the podcast.
No.
Okay, that's good to know.
No.
I was really concerned about how the size of that going in and out and what damage that causes after.
No. I'll tell you a quick story. I was on a transfer in a prison, max prison. And at the time, years ago, I used to smoke cigarettes, whatever. And this guy's like, hey, man, watch the gate for me. The gate is, the door. So he comes out and he's like, lighter, tobacco, papers. I'm like, this guy was like forever pulling stuff out like a rabbit hat, right? So he's like, hey, man, he goes, cleans it up. And I'm like, he's like, I got some weed too, and they're very, 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 I want to say, man, talented. And this guy had, trust me, he was not, gay, or I have nothing against gay people or anything, but he was just a convict. Mm-hmm. And it just opened my eyes like, wow, this guy literally had razors in there, everything. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, that's determination. People look down on inmates, but no one's really willing to put all that up their butthole. So you got to give them credit where credit is due.
Oh, yeah. Especially like...
They can put that on a resume when they get out. They're applying for a job. They're like, you should see what this beehole does. You would hire me in a second.
You're right. It's sad but true. Like some guys, like, I did supervising one time when I was doing construction, and the guys would go in there, hey, man, I'm on parole. Man, I adapt quickly. Listen, man, I done time over the wall. And I'm like, bro, we're just doing construction here. Like, we're taking down walls, grab the sledgehammer, but it's true. Some guys are institutionalized, and they actually stay like that forever. Like, it's crazy. And you can notice. I notice when it's someone that's institutionalized. Well, the way they move and everything.
I imagine when you go into jail and prison for the first time, like, you probably feel lost, and then all of a sudden you're surrounded by other people who felt lost at one point and have found kind of this hierarchy. And I imagine it can be pretty comfortable and almost like nurturing in a way, like the way you were with Akaika.
Yeah, Ikaika. Yeah, Ikaika.
It felt very paternal, like you were kind of taking the place of like a father figure to him. And so I imagine, like, you know, if you were in there for a longer time and with him, like that might feel better than what it feels like outside in the real world if he doesn't even have a father or something.
Yeah, no, and it's true. And I've been there, you know, I've done that, and it's true. Like, it's different. A mom can't teach a son how to become a man. So when the system takes that role, it's not going to go good. It's not going to go good, and that's what's happening now. And someone like Ikaika, which he's doing good now. He's living in California. He's doing background acting. He's pursuing a career in that.
Is he in LA?
So
I gotta hit him up.
Yeah, he's doing real good. He's out there, and he understood. It's weird because nobody else understood, but he understood.
Do you think that slap knocked some sense into him?
I think the reality check, not necessarily the physical, the slap, but what the point across of watching the whole show, because I'm sure he went home, watched it, and got input from his family or someone positive and said, hey, that guy was really trying to help you. Like, that guy wasn't out there like, you know, I could have punched. I could have just, you know, stalled, you know, but those guys in there, like, I prepared myself 30 days even before that. I used to work out, creatine, like, I was ready for anybody in there. Like, it was not going to be that, like, you hit me and I'm going to hit the floor. CO, come get me. No, it was going to be, we was going to go at it. So I was very cautious with even him. I didn't want to hurt him, you know. And he's a good dude. He's a good kid.
Yeah, he seems very sweet.
He's a man.
I mean, you seem like a great guy, too. I loved that you were on the show. I feel like it's a great introduction season. For anyone who hasn't watched 60 Days In, I feel like season 5 is a great place to start. But I was wondering, would you go back? Like, would you be willing? I mean, I don't think you could at this point. You're probably too well known. But would you go back into jail, like, for the same purpose? Or do you think you're over it?
Yeah, I would go back. We could go Nebraska, Alaska, somewhere where they don't know me, and, you know, hey, I'll do a little J Balvin, dye my hair, whatever, you know. But
you look good with a bleached head.
I definitely would. But I would say that I have things on my mind and projects that will involve something like that, but a little more raw, that have nothing to do with A&E or Netflix. It'll be something that I'm going to do, you know, and, you know, God willing, the doors will open up.
Good for you. Before we get out of here, a lot of people sent in questions for you. I think it's pretty easy to say you're most people's favorite person on this show. Would you disagree or agree?
No, people kind of gravitate to me. Like, my story pretty much goes into a single mom, goes into a fatherless kid, goes into someone with addiction, religion. My story just pretty much, a lot of people gravitate to it. Doesn't matter your race or how much money you have. I've encountered, and I have, people that are like in the hierarchy of Hollywood, you know, and I don't want to put them on blast, that they generally found me in the airport like, hey, and I'm like, whoa, that's really you? Like, how do you even recognize me? Like, hey, man, here's my number. You need anything, let me know. Like, but people just gravitate to me like I'm real. I'm not going to sit here and be like, put up a movie. Like, I'm real. Even when I go somewhere, like, even when I was doing TikToks, I could go in the mall and take pictures with people. Like, people love me. Like, and like, they're gonna do something to you. They're not gonna do nothing. They love me. When they see me, they're like shocked. Like, yo, are you? Hey, look, call the whole family over. Like, let's take a picture.
I know my heart was racing when you joined the Zoom. I was like, oh my God, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, so just answer them as briefly as possible because there were so many questions in for you. If there was one moment you could relive during your time there, which would it be?
One moment,
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have showed it, but there was a guy in there that I prayed with and cried with that had an addiction, which he's doing real good now. And he comes from a wealthy family. I wish that I would have left there that day with him and just embarked on a journey with him, helping him. You know, like, it's as weird as it might sound, with him. Like, the show didn't even matter. It was just that person, you know, helping that person, because that's my passion.
That's really nice. Do a lot of people think this show is fake? And would you say that there's anything fake about the show besides maybe the editing portraying certain things differently than they might actually be? Like, is there anything that might be fake about the show?
No, like, they don't give you caviar, they don't give you steak. Like, you're in jail, your cellmate's gonna poop right next to you. Like, he might not flush. It's jail. Those are real inmates. They script it how they want, but it's real jail. Those are real people doing time, you know, real individuals.
And you had a tattoo on your back that was formerly a Latin King's tattoo, and then you had it covered up. But it showed in the beginning, people kind of called you out for that early on and asked you about the tattoo. Did that ever get in the way any further, or did they just take your word for it that you aren't a part of Latin Kings?
Well, I had a couple tattoos before the show. I had a tattoo on my neck that said, fuck the police, and I took it off with surgery. I don't think that would have pretty much done good for the show. And the one on my back, I pretty much put like a regular crown on it and covered the initials of the gang. But at that moment when I was in there, I was like, dang, I just got here. The show's over. I'm going home. So I kind of like caught myself, wait a minute, just take it easy. And I kind of just went with the vibe, you know, and read them, and okay, they're not really a threat. So let me just fall back. I'm not even gonna, you know, but that moment was a little bit, I thought it was over. Not that I was scared of just throwing punches, but I was like, dang, I just got here.
Yeah,
like,
that would
already,
suck.
You know?
Can you get every kind of drug in prison?
Yeah, you could probably get every kind of drug and any drug that they're inventing.
There's like unknown drugs in there, like trial.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's genius ways of consuming them too. So
yeah, do people mostly just boof it, or just regular take it?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's actually people that have careers going to jail as mules and taking something in, catching a little case, come back, and you know, they bail them out. Yeah, I dropped it off.
No way.
Money. Oh yeah, it's a reality. It'll never stop.
Wow. Do people at your church or kids or like any family members see you differently now, or do you have any kids?
Yeah.
Did they watch the show? Like, did they feel like, oh damn, I gotta listen to Dad now? He's serious business.
Yeah, no, pretty much they've been listening to me, but it's more like people at my church. It's more like I go and sometimes I have like an awkward moment, and they're like, and sometimes people will visit the church just to kind of take a picture or something, and it's kind of weird sometimes, but I'm used to it now. And it's like, I embrace it, but they know I did it for a positive, and it was jail, but it was a show, you know?
Did you get any threats from inmates after the show, or just people who watched who had any sort of beef with you?
Yeah, I actually, you know, and I'll put this like in a brief way. There's been actually some scary moments, and I had to adjust my lifestyle. Even from having security around my house, even from having friends that have pistol permits that are in law enforcement that'll be around with me or whatever. But not necessarily from the inmates, but from people that are kind of like mentally ill. And it's scary. It's scary. And I kind of like keep my private life to myself, even to that point. So I'm very cautious with it. But yeah, I've had scary moments till this day. till this day. Like, and they're like, go live your life. Like, leave me alone.
I know, it is sad. I get a lot of DMs from dudes, and I hope that it is just a lot of like mental illness, and I think it's a lot of like it's a lot of harmless threats, but it's scary nonetheless, and it feels very real, and you don't know.
And they keep doing them.
Yeah.
And it's scary because the more you interact with them, even if you tell them a no, or they saw the message, they saw it.
Oh yeah, I learned to not interact at all, period, no matter what it is.
I delete. So this is for all my stalkers. I just delete you. Don't do it.
Yeah. I'm a stalker of yours, but I'm like a normal, just like
no, not.
What do you feel about the prison food diet?
The prison food diet? What do you mean, like the TikTok prison food diet, or?
No, I think this person's just asking about the food that's in there, or like.
They're horrible.
Do you ever get used to it, or is it every single time you're like, oh shit?
I'll tell you what. When I was young, I weighed 115 pounds till I was like 25 years old. Then I went and did 7 years and started eating the food and bulked up. Like, it literally will bulk you up because it's like soy. Everything's mixed with soy and, but it's horrible. It tastes horrible, but it's actually not bad for you. But sometimes it's just mysterious meat. Like, I don't know. And that's what they call it. I don't even know what it is. Like on turkey, Thanksgiving, the turkey's like a white that you don't understand. Like, wait a minute. Like, this looks like chips or bones in the turkey. Like,
jail food truly scares me, and I don't know if I'd be able to handle it. But luckily, I don't have to eat that stuff. I can eat really healthy things that taste good as well, like Belly Welly. I just tried this product, and I was skeptical because it's like all healthy, and it's good for your gut health, and it's all, all natural. And that stuff, kind of the woo-woo stuff, intimidates me. I'm like, is this just for aesthetics? Is this real? I tried it. It tastes very good. And this is the crazy part about it. Instead of taking a probiotic, which is very good for you daily, especially as a woman with a lot of coochie, needing antibiotics down there, a probiotic is very good. So, this Belly Welly snack, I like to have it in the morning because I don't like a big breakfast in the morning, and it comes in a little package. It's easy to eat. It's essentially like taking one probiotic pill. So if you're not really into taking pills, but you want to be healthy, just eat a Belly Welly a day. I really like it. It tastes yummy. So now I basically get my probiotics in a cookie bar instead of in a pill, and that's lovely, especially because I always forget to take pills. That's why I can't be on birth control. I would just forget, and you can't have that. But one thing I won't forget to do is eat. So very easy. It's good for bloating, chronic fatigue, acne, and even stress. And some food intolerances can all be signs of an unhealthy gut. So this is very good for your gut. So try it out. Go get Belly Welly for 15% off. Let me see. I can't see what the code is. Oh, if you go to their website, just type in the code AllieMac for 15% off. Let me just make sure that's accurate, because I don't want to send you to the wrong place. Do I sound like I'm having a seizure while I'm doing this? I feel like... Let's see. Yes. BELLIWELLI.com. Belly Welly. Get your probiotics in a brownie instead of a pill. Yeah, they have like little sample boxes. They have different flavors. They have fudge brownie, cinnamon coffee. I have the lemon white chocolate. I'm normally not into lemon flavors, but this one's like a nice subtle lemon. They also have minty chocolate. So whatever you're down for, they have it. Try it. Buy it. Use promo code AllieMac for 15% off. And then you won't have to worry about jail food and what might be in that. It's definitely the complete opposite of what's in this. Okay, back to the podcast. Enjoy. Thank you. God bless.
No, it's horrible.
My boyfriend's really skinny, so maybe I'll send him to jail to bulk up a little bit.
Oh yeah, they'll bulk him up real quick. He had no choice but to gain weight.
How often did you feel you were in danger?
In there,
Yeah. Does it
I
kind of
want.
feel like constantly, like there's always like a base level of danger or
Yeah,
threat?
you pretty much have to watch your back. You don't know who wants to swing on you, or and sadly, there's people in there with mental health. They might look normal and talk normal, but something's wrong with them. Like
Mm-hmm.
you've been coming, and I even say for myself, like there was really something wrong with me that it took for me to snap out of it and say, man. So when you're in there, you're like, he looks normal, but I've seen situations where they're friends and they just come from behind and start wailing for a bag of soup or something. Like it's crazy. Like
And
this.
there was a moment towards the end where, you know, your fellow Chicanos in jail started throwing up some prison sign language and you were catching a vibe that your ass was
Yeah,
gonna be, you know, handled.
yeah. I was just like, who's gonna swing first? Because I'm definitely gonna swing back. And I already knew it was gonna there was gonna jump. It was not gonna be a one-on-one
Are
because we were
you
gonna be in there.
are
A fight is like a minute. So you swing, police come, and they separate it. So I already knew it was going to be quick because the cameras are there, and none of them called me out. So I already knew it was pretty much, let's just jump them, but they knew I was on point from the day I walked in that jail. It was not you watching me, I'm watching you.
are you fluent in prison sign language?
It's depending the gang. It's depending
Oh.
the gang. Like all gangs have different sign language, especially the gang I was in. But they changed it every now and then. But like the old school one they were using, the sign language, that's old. Like that's real old. Like they're like that's like minimal. That's like let's keep it in the county. But in prisons over the wall, they change them up all the time.
Okay.
But I already knew in the morning when they were coming out and they were throwing the letters, I already knew each letter stand for something. And you could they just told on themselves the way they were moving, and it was just, you feel the tension.
Um let me just do a few more questions. Oh. Someone asked if Allie was doing time with you, would she be a shot caller? I don't think so. I'm pretty non-confrontational.
And that's non-confrontation is a good thing. It's a leadership skill.
Yeah.
So I think in the woman's pod, yeah.
Oh, hell
I think
yeah.
I think the screaming and the yelling and the drama, they kind of, you could gravitate to the, let me just finesse. Like, hey, come here. I don't want to argue with you. Like, I think you come across that person like, hey, and manipulate it. So you're not going to punch her and take the soup. Just, can I have the soup and I'll give it back to you? There's ways of conning people. And I think you can manipulate that. Definitely, yeah.
Okay, hell yeah. In case I ever get put in jail, I'll have to use your number and make you my first call so I know what to do. What's the best jail recipe that you know about? Like the nachos, the birthday cake. Are there any of the jail recipes that you're like, oh, I kind of make that at home because it's so good?
Yeah, there's one that I like and it's the yellow rice. You could get the yellow rice, Uncle Ben's, but I use more like fish. So some people use tuna, some people use like canned fish, and there's this fish that they're like tilapias in can, and you can just throw it in there, put some banana peppers in there, some hot peppers. I would say the rice, but fry it with like some butter.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right, I like the rice fried with butter. I'm not too much of the wraps and all that.
How do you fry a meal in a pot in jail?
You get pre-cooked, so either you could grab butter from the mess hall. I seen people cook with baby oil, like literally with baby oil.
Damn.
So, I mean, they find ways to do it. I mean, that's if you can't get no butter, but you could pretty much get butter, like it's pre-cooked rice, and chef it up, and you'll find a heater, you'll find a plug, anything, and just cook.
Yeah.
You know, and pretty much I would say butter or oil.
Okay, let me see if I missed any questions. Was there anything I left out that I wanted to talk about? Did you want to ask any questions? What do you want to ask? Oh, nothing. Okay. Sebastian, any questions? You what? I wanted to know about Mark, but I didn't know. Do you keep in touch with Mark?
Yeah, Mark's probably the only one that pretty much follows me and stuff. Mark's he's still going to church. He's still doing the Bible study. He's a good guy. Mark's a good guy. His intention being well.
Yeah, he was a little sweetie. I just loved looking at his little marshmallowy body. He's just a wholesome little dude.
Mark's a cool cat.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I love this show. I adore you. And do you, I don't know, like, I guess it's too, oh, I had one question I wanted to ask. When I was watching your season, I was asking my boyfriend, I'm like, why don't they just separate the pods by race? Like, why don't they have one pod that's all white people, one pod that's all the Chicanos, one pod that's all kinfolk? Like, do you think that would work as well? Or do you think even that would be, no?
It is legally and by federal laws, you can't do that. Like, that would be a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Sure.
Like, that sheriff will be fired within 24 hours. Like, you're out of there. Like, legally, you can't do that, and you can't separate them by religion or anything like that. But if you would do that, they would just find a reason to say, hey, man, the curly hair is over here and the blonde's over here. They're going to find a way to segregate themselves anyway.
Okay.
Like, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for doing the podcast. If you want to plug anything, your social media, anything at all, let people find you however they choose.
Yeah, no, I just got the real Abner 60 Days In on Instagram, where you found me, and that's it. TikTok, I'm not really doing too much prison TikTok. I'm pretty much
no dance videos. No dance videos.
No, I got a wooden leg. I can't dance. No.
Thank you so much, Abner. You're great. You are the realist, like you said, and we all see that, and we love it. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, guys, and have a good one.
Take care, man.
All right, straight cholo. Boom.
Bye.
Bye.